This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by former world champion Sonny Edwards here in London. Sonny, it's good to see you as always. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're all good. Andy, how are you?
Very well, thank you, sir. Very well. Obviously, you're here with Giorgio Visioli ahead of what's another step up for him and Leo Tang. But we'll start off with Giorgio just because it's in my eyesight. This fight with Joe Howarth. Talk to me about it. What of Joe have you watched, studied? Why do you feel like it's the correct move in this stage in his career?
I've commentated on one of his fights. I've seen him for a few years with Dave pushing him. I think he's like a tough area to English, maybe fringe British level type fighter. He comes in good condition. He tries to let his hands go, but I think with what Giorgio can do, he's gonna, put him in a box quite quickly and keep him there. Giorgio, for me, is one of the brightest talents in world boxing coming through. Genuinely one of the best prospects in the world. We have full belief in him. Every fighter that he's faced in a professional ring has had a winning record and has come with ambition, but he's just absolutely taken every step as easy as they come, barely got out of first or second gear. Does everything asked for him inside the ring. He doesn't, go and blow up in between camps. He doesn't go partying and get drunk or do anything that he's not supposed to. He is genuinely a consummate professional. He's a pleasure to be around, a pleasure to share this journey with. He was a fighter that the moment he won his first senior ABA title for Repton, I was onto him then. We got introduced to each other at, I think it was a boxer show actually, and linked up from then, and we've been close ever since. And genuinely, it's been a pleasure to be a part of his team. He's hyperbole central. I genuinely think one of the brightest talents at just 22 years old. He's spiteful, he's accurate, he's very particular of how he goes about his work, and there's no surprise that he's building up the organic following, and it's not with slapstick or cheap short form content, running his mouth or anything. He gets in the ring, he delivers exceptional performance after exceptional performance, and there is viral moments in every single performance he does. I'm a numbers man. I'm sure DAZN will be too. He's fought on many cards where throughout the fight week, that clip that goes out of Giorgio is the most watched, most reacted, most shared, most commented on clip of the whole fight week. And they got him in the 6 and now 8 rounders, first 10 rounder, and they're paying the headliners 10, 20, 30, 40 times more, and they're bringing 10, 20, 30, 40 times less eyes. That has genuinely happened. And yeah, I think he's going from strength to strength, and I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it will be one where he'll have to come through some awkward moments, but as the levels go up and the fights get longer, it's bound to happen that way. But I think he'll show his tremendous class, and I think he'll, really put on a performance that will make people, if they aren't already, the platform of being the headliner rather than being at before the bell or first slot on the undercard, it is a big difference. And I think people will really, if they're not already, take notice of Giorgio after 17th of December.
So you've got the fight with Joe on the horizon, but there's a certain American name which continues to crop up, Kamal Moten. Do you envision seeing that fight at an earlier stage in their careers and what it could be if it was to build over a matter of years to come?
Yeah, and I would like to see it. We have that much belief in Giorgio. We've watched the 2 spars. I don't know if they would have watched them back because they probably wouldn't be too happy. They never uploaded it anyway. They've got HD camera looks like yours footage, but never seen the light of day. And it's probably one of the most sought after spars that Kamal Moten's ever had. Why hasn't he posted it to get his ad revenue? I don't know. You tell me. But we'll take that fight anytime. We have a quite strict trajectory that we want to build Giorgio because we have so much belief in him. We want him to get to world level and be able to stay there for a long time to come. I genuinely believe what he has in his toolbox, and he does so easily, he could go down, not that he will, or he's definitely going to, he could go down as one of the better fighters that Britain's ever had. I genuinely believe that if the things happen right and he gets the right fights. But we'd be happy to step off of that trajectory of what we're willing to do for a Kamal Moten, but obviously it would have to make sense for Giorgio, it would have to make sense for the event. But as much as he likes putting a tweet out every now and then and saying that he's building his name off him, I feel like it's more the other way around. Maybe it's because I'm in the UK, I don't see Kamal's fights. We don't get him over here. but the Americans are getting Giorgio. He's got an American fan base. People are already tuning in and watching him and recognising him. I was in Philadelphia out of him last week and last month, and you know, he turned a lot of heads, and he didn't need to stop him. He just controlled absolutely every minute. Didn't do any more than he needed to because we had this fight lined up. So didn't want no bad hands, didn't want no cuts, didn't want to jeopardise a great end to the year. And his first 10-round fight in a domestic dust-up with obviously a good fighter, Joe Howarth, and obviously his manager, Dave Allen, one of the bigger names in British boxing currently, and then me and Giorgio's corner. So looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great event. I think it's going to be a great night. I'm sure tickets are already borderline sold out if they're not already. Giorgio hasn't really fought too many times in London or local to where he's from, but has already shipped out pretty much all of his tickets, and is showing that he's a little bit of a ticket seller, more than he probably imagined and envisioned himself. So yeah, everything's going well.
Away from Georgia, Sonny, Leo Tang, as you mentioned, now obviously Matchroom stable isn't kind of full with heavyweights currently, and Leo's seen as that next one coming through. A lot of heavyweights over with Queensbury, but one fight which has been mentioned previously is a potential at some point that matchup with Moses Atama. Do you feel like there's too much pressure being built around a potential fight there between the two of them?
Not really. Now, it's nothing that Leo said, I've said, Anto said, or Ash has said. That's Leo's team that have led to any of these conversations, but Leo's getting out of the ring for his first and second fights. I'm in group chats with people that don't really know boxing too much, but wouldn't even know that I was behind Leo. Oh, we have to see this fight. I hope this ain't another AJ Fury. He got out the fight for his first fight, and that's how impressive Leo has been. He's got in the ring and he's put away fighters quicker than anyone else has done. The last one especially, good fighters, good level, Commonwealth medalist, went the distance with, stopped him in the 4th round. Leo, as soon as he landed in the 1st round, the fight was over. Athletically, he is an animal. He's like a young Hercules, genuinely. He carries and possesses so much athletical ability, but not just that, he's got control of his footwork, of his balance. He loves to have a fight as well. He gets in and he really does let his hand go. If you look at the amateurs, giving away 20, 30 kilo weight disadvantages, taking big shots and coming back and giving the boy standing count straight after, etc. Ukrainian in the European finals at the highest level he could have competed at that stage of his career. And yeah, I think he's just going to go strength to strength. He's also one, we keep saying it, he's genuinely one of the nicest energies and people to be around. I look forward to his fight weeks already. Not only is he a great fighter, he's a great person, and I'll be doing everything in my power and rooting for him and wishing anything I can expend to him, I will. I think he genuinely is just like Giorgio. We've got a little crop now. Obviously, me and Anto, who was my manager for my whole career, we work with a few fighters now, and without going through the whole list of them, because there's about 14 of them, when you look at Giorgio, Leo Atang, Bobby Flood as well, who just signed to Queensbury Promotions, a standout Irish amateur. We really are now working and operating with some of the best prospects coming through, and I think they're that good that it would probably be a failure on our part if they don't make it to a certain level of success. That's how good the fighters I think that we're working with. And yeah, Giorgio's just, you know, he's linked up with Monterex. He's getting some, you know, big brand attraction, collaboration, and endorsements. Leo as well with Yellow. It's looking really good at the moment, if I'm honest, and I'm really, really excited for the future. But obviously, the boys have got to pay rent in December. You got Leo going over to Ghana. You got Giorgio fighting in London in the O2, the Indigo, and they've got rent due every time you get in the ring. So looking forward to them putting on another performance. We have nothing but full belief that they're going to go and do the business. And yeah, let's just say boxing management was like football management. There is not a fighter that you could trade, transfer, sign-on fee and deal with. I wouldn't swap them fighters for anyone. Anyone in British boxing, no one.
Sonny, obviously with yourself, I can see the hand bandaged up there. I know you've just come back from surgery. I've seen a few people kind of reaching out, suggesting, is that what maybe when he's back fully healed will start a return to the ring for yourself? A lot of people thought that maybe we might see you back just because of how early you retired in your career. Is that in your thought process at all? Is a return to the ring on the horizon for Showtime?
Do you know what? If I'm just being perfectly transparent, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm probably in a stage where I'm not really paying too much mind to it at the moment, if I'm honest. It's only when I get sort of brought into conversations that it's really coming into the front of my head. I'm fully committed to my media work and my commentary work with Matchroom. I'm fully committed to behind the fighters that I've got. I'm managing 14 fighters now I'm involved with, so I've got a full plate. I've also got 2 young kids, 6 and 4 at home. So I'm just trying to balance everything. Look, I know I retired young, but my body was falling apart. Regarding my hand, before my British title fight, I got in the ring with 2 bad hands. I got out of the ring with 2 bad hands. I remember posting a picture. I don't know who saw that. My hands were balloons, both of them. My left hand never recovered. Every fight I had after that, I was getting a Kenalog injection into the little pocket in the back of my wrist. It was numbing the pain. I hadn't trained with my left hand for years properly. Every pad I hit was in between, the padding of the glove before it hit my knuckle. I didn't really do bags by the end. I couldn't really do strength and conditioning by the end because it was just hurting all the time. I'd numb it, get in the ring and fight and try my best. And it was getting to the point where it was just wearing me down mentally. Physically, it was a problem, but for the first few years, I'm going to be world champion. Then I'm a world champion. I'm going to defend my world titles. I was just so tunnel vision and tunnel minded. Got to a point where maybe turned a corner and the training was just getting a bit much for me. I was really only sparring because with the adrenaline, it was the only time I couldn't really feel it. Found out I had the operation with the best specialist in the country, Mike Hayton, that every fighter goes to. I had arthritis in the back of my hand. For how long, I don't know, but it makes sense why I was waking up in the cold mornings in Liverpool for my last fight with shooting pains in my hand before I was going to the gym. Cold gym as well, the no-name gym, but shout out to all them boys there. But it was getting to the point where the physical hurdles and obstacles were mentally challenging, where before they wasn't. I've got 2-3 pins in the back of my hand. I had to shave some of my hip to pull it in there. They removed the bone with arthritis in, and I can't lie, I'm deluded. I always think I recover fast because growing up, it didn't matter if I was injured, ill, sick, having an allergic reaction or otherwise. My dad didn't let me have a session off. My dad didn't let me not spar. My dad didn't let me not train, not run, not fight. It didn't matter what was going on. I had a broken nose, couldn't breathe, couldn't sleep, still won a CYP final. I've had conjunctivitis, still jumped in the ring. I've had broken hands, snapped ankles, and I've still jumped in the ring. I've still done my sparring. I've still competed. And that's always been the way that I have been because my dad didn't let me rest. He was just stop complaining, get back in there. So I've always had that mindset. But, if, say, in 4-6 months when my hand's fully recovered, I'd have this off now if I could. It's a bit of a ball ache. But if in, say, 4-6 months, I feel like my hand feels like it hasn't for 5 years, then I can only imagine I'm going to want to go into the gym and do some training. And when I'm in the gym training, I can only imagine that I'm going to want to do some sparring. Now, if I'm honest, I don't know how much I got left. I don't know if I've spent all my best days. I don't know if I've got the mindset for it anymore. I don't know if I've got the ego that I had for it before. Because at one point, I didn't just want the belts for me. I wanted no one else at my weight to have them. Anytime someone in my division had a little bit of success that I thought was undeserved with me being in there, I didn't like it. And I can see that same sort of energy in Giorgio, and that's why I know he's such a special fighter, because you need that little bit of ego. You need that inner voice that believes you are better than everyone. And I maybe lost a bit, maybe got a little bit soft, so I don't know. Do I need to? No. I bought my house, my kids are sweet, I've got the ball rolling with the outside of the boxing staff, I've got some of the best prospects coming through and getting to that stages of their career where, if Giorgio goes and does this, and then for the next 2 years dominates British up to European level, he'll be in massive, massive world title fights, and he's been built up from his debut on DAZN all the way through, fought in America, platform. So as a manager, I probably wouldn't need to in that sense anyway. I know a few people have, it's because he's skin. Not just yet, you know what I mean? Not just yet, but if I want to. But right now, I don't know if I do. It got to the point, though, that I couldn't even have a little proper wrestle with my son without, if he leant on my left hand a little bit. I couldn't do a press-up. I couldn't put my hand, I couldn't just hold my weight on my left hand. I could do it on my right, I could do it one-handed. I had to put my knuckles down just to solidify it, and that was for the last 4 or 5 years prior to getting this up, so I don't know, if I'm honest. If If I was a betting man, I'd say probably not, because I don't know if I'd ever be able to dedicate myself, stop the smoking, come out of the better lifestyle that is travelling to hotel, sitting and talking about fights or jumping in the corner. It is a lot more enjoyable. Boxing itself is a lot more harder, and a big part of me feels like I've done my innings. I started boxing when I was 9 years old, and I went and I fought in every single year as an amateur. I fought at every given opportunity as a pro. I've never turned down a fight. I've never said no to a date. I was getting out of the ring, getting straight back in it as soon as I could. That's why I had so many fights, and even though there was no one in my division, I made myself a small part of the British boxing scene that people recognise, because I had to put the work in. I had to take the hardest fights. I had to run relentlessly to the Maruttis, to the Alvarados, to the Bams, fighting Galal. Like, I always had to run to the hard fights, because it wasn't worth me fighting anyone that people didn't think could beat me. It was never worth. My two mandatories were Mama, Alvarado. People didn't even give me the credit, because I was like, it's just a mandatory, even though they were good fighters. You know what I mean? Unbeaten. Campos, unbeaten. But they haven't got no platform, then you don't get no credit, and no one wants to see the fight, no matter what the actual outcome is. So I've had a good career. Do I know if do I think I'm coming back or not? I don't know if I'm perfectly honest, but probably leaning more towards no than yes.
So just a word on, you mentioned Galal. I saw a photo of the two of you up at GB. How's he been doing, obviously, since everything that happened with his fight, which has now obviously been turned into a no contest?
Yeah, man, it was good to see Galal. I got called up the day before by Patricia Mbata, shout out to her, Nigerian representative, very, very good international. She got called to spar Lauren Price, and she asked me to do her corner, so I went down there, saw Galal. We was chatting for a good 45 minutes an hour. Like, what people, I know we kept saying it, but I actually like him. Like, I think he likes me. We actually have a good level of respect for each other. Obviously, that has to go out the window. And obviously, he knows that that wasn't the version of me that he's always known. Like, he knows that, we can speak, it's like no secret. The 100% of me might have lost against Galal. I don't know. In my opinion, my mind, I don't think it would have. In his, he probably thinks he beats me the same way. And look, I'm happy for him. I was proud of him when he won the Olympic gold medalist as a friend. Even though he's a rival, I know when it's personal and I know when it's business, and I can still navigate the business relationship that we have, rivals, and that if I ever did come back, the probably only real fight that I'd want would probably be Galal again, do you know what I mean? But I wish nothing but the best of him. I think he beat Sandoval, and I hope he does. I think it was disgusting what the world of boxing allowed to happen to him in the last fight. Francisco Rodriguez, was it Rodriguez? Yep. Francisco Rodriguez failed a drugs test in his last fight, and that wasn't released until after he failed a drugs test for his next fight. How that can happen, I don't know. It blows my mind. How unsafe can a boxing ring be if you can fail a drugs test, get banned for that one committee over in Texas, I think it was, whoever it was. I don't know if it was Texas, it might not have been. Okay, I just don't want to get sued. And then he come to Britain, get a license, fight, break records for punches landed and punches thrown. Everyone was heavy, everyone was powerful, and he got faster as the rounds went on. Galal showed his toughness, showed that he is one of, the most concrete and be able to weather punishment. Like, I don't know how many fighters could have took over 500 clean heavy shots from a juiced up Mexican and still been there in the final belt. It was ridiculous. I said to him, I think Rob should have called it on after the 8th round, because you just didn't have the firepower no more. You could still take the shots. You did take the shots, but I hope that hasn't taken too much out of him. I don't think it has, because he's very tunnel-minded, and if that same thing happened to me and someone failed a drugs test, I would just have that confidence that, oh wow, the first time that's happened to me in my life, someone was juiced up to the gills, failed 2 drugs tests. So it's not just for this fight he's been juicing. He was banned for the last one, so how long has he been doing it? But I think that should be a much bigger scandal than it is. I think, people should be getting sued. I think damages should be getting paid. I think lifetime bans should be getting issued. I think, I know they've removed the loss of his record, haven't they? Which is fair about. So I think Galal should be able to just lever him a few times and he can't punch back, because it's out of order. He didn't just fail 1 test, he failed 2 tests for 2 different fights in a row and was allowed to box for a WBC, and he was forced onto Galal. After beating me, the number 1 in the division, previously, Galal, and I think at the time, Galal should have had a straight direct world title shot. Instead, he got forced a mandatory for a WBC interim to maintain his mandatory spot for the world title. Disgusting. I think all wrong. And especially that some people over there, some people in some would have known that he's just failed a drugs test. It wouldn't have been a complete secret from everyone. It was a secret to us. It was a surprise to us. I remember on commentary when I said in the 12th round, those no boxing, no life gloves are probably a hint how he's thrown so many power punches and been so accurate, and he's throwing harder and heavier and faster punches in the 12th round than he was in the first. And I was a villain for all of 11 days until the drugs test came out. I was a villain. It just seems a bit too consistently themed that the same people connected to the same people keep failing the same things. For me, it's disgusting. I was drugs tested relentlessly for the last 3-4 years of my career. I was on 24/7 whereabouts testing. That was another reason I retired. You know, getting woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, having to put where you're sleeping every single night. I was one strike away from getting banned. Not because I ever took anything, but because at some point I might be at 10 o'clock at night staying here, and then a couple of conversations changed and I'm now there, or I'm there. And then I forgot about it when I got there to update the little app, and now all of a sudden, oh, you're getting caught like a cheater. 2 times I had 2 strikes going into the Galal fight, 2 missed tests. Not because I missed them, because I'm terrible at admin, because I've got ADHD, because I'm a fighter, because I never signed up to be a boxer to fucking check in with an app every day. I would have rather than put an ankle bracelet around me or something on my finger or connected a GPS to my phone and they just found me. I didn't care about doing a drugs test. I passed 50 of them. I remember one week coming up to the Galal fight maybe, the BAM fight, I had to do 3 tests in 1 week. It was never a problem. But people getting away with it, people failing, still allowed to fight, punch your head in, fail again. Like, whatever money got paid to Rodriguez should have got paid to Galal, minimum. Then he should have got sued for damages. What potential damage could have happened to Galal's body for that fight? That is probably one of the most brutal beatdowns I have ever seen. And not because Galal was not a good fighter, because he was mixing him until, hold on, he's got a fucking Mac 10 Uzi and he's got a pistol by the end, second half of the fight. Because when you are cheating, your body is capable of doing far more explosive, dynamic endurance activity than when you are not cheating. And it's as simple as that. So, yeah, shout out to Galal. It's been a pleasure to share my story with him. Like, I beat him in the amateurs. He got when Olympic got gold, and he beat me in the pros. But I've been world champion, so it's kind of like finally balanced. But if I did ever come back, that probably would be the only fight I want. And I told Galal that as well, because at the end of the day, it's the only fight that we're going to fill an arena in the UK, like we did last time.
Sonny, it's a pleasure as always. I need to catch up with Giorgio. Thanks for speaking to me. I'll catch you throughout the week.